Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel and I'm a beginnerish knitter in South Carolina, and this is podcast number 4. I haven't filmed in about a month, so I have a good bit of stuff to show you, and I'm really excited to chat with you and let you know what I've been working on. Go ahead and let me know in the comments what you're working on, because I know for me, I am always watching these videos while I knit, so if you're doing the same, let me know what you're working on. So we're going to start with what I'm wearing, which is actually my first finished object. This is the CARDI Jumper by Vertknit or Ines Oliveira, and I finished this like a few days after my last video, so I've gotten to wear it quite a few times. I made this in size 3, which is my recommended size, and I made it with a single strand of Knitting for Olive Merino in the shade Dusty Olive. This is one of the patterns that I found, like one of the very first patterns that I found on Ravelry that I really liked when I was getting into knitting, and I really wanted to make it, but at that time I did not quite have the skill set needed. And I waited until I felt comfortable to do it because I really liked the way this looks, and I wanted to do it right, and I wanted to like my finished object. And I'll be honest, some of my first finished objects do not look that good, and I don't objectively enjoy wearing them. But anyway, I started this one in about probably August, and if you saw my last video, you know that this sweater like ruined my knitting mojo, and I took a long break from knitting, period. I was just very frustrated with it because I knew that using a single strand would be time consuming and a little bit frustrating, but I underestimated how much it would affect me. The pattern suggests using a single strand of merino and then also mohair held together, which I think would have made this faster a little bit. I think it's just a time-consuming piece. I do feel like it was worth it though, because I really like the object. I met stitch gauge, so width-wise, but I did not meet the row gauge, and at the time I didn't realize that that was very important. Now I do know that it was important. So I did have to do some thinking and adjusting for this garment. So you'll see the V is not as deep as intended, but I'm pleased with that because that means I can wear it, you know, to school. I don't have to wear something under it. It's very modest. This is my collarbone, and then it's like maybe an inch below at the deepest point. It also meant that the underarm was a little bit high, so it's not uncomfortably tight, but there is not a lot of space there between. There's my underarm, and here's where it sits. So I guess I'd call that maybe an inch as well. It's supposed to be lower, but I'm okay with that. It did mean that I had to go a lot longer on the body than suggested, so I just looked at the schematic, and I just knit about until it said how long the back should be, rather than in the pattern it says from the underarm. I knew that wouldn't be accurate, and then of course I could just try it on, but I wanted to follow it as well. The big problem I had was the sleeves. I wanted it to taper, and I do like the way the sleeve looks here. I think it is a nice fit, but I didn't want to go with the suggestion in the pattern because I knew my row gauge wasn't right and it would get too tight too fast. So I adjusted that. If you're curious for exactly how I adjusted it, just let me know, but I just did a little bit of math. I think last time I talked about this, I had just ordered some buttons, and those are not these buttons. I ordered these little white pearly buttons that I thought would look really cute, but they were too big. I accidentally got the wrong size, but it didn't matter because I didn't like the way they looked anyway. It just didn't fit with the piece. I think they are cute, and I kept them, and I'll try to use them on something else, but I just didn't like the way it went with this. So I got these like brushed antique kind of looking brass buttons. They were really cheap. They're little half dome buttons. I think they look so cute, and I think they fit with it really well. Speaking of buttons though, I did have a lot of trouble spacing them. Even though I measured, and I like measured 2 or 3 times, I laid it down flat and tried to do it and line them up nicely. I didn't make buttonholes, so I just kind of guessed where it should be, and I think that was my problem. I think I sewed them in appropriate places, but I had a lot of trouble just kind of shoving it through the fabric on the other side and keeping it straight and consistent. So there are like, some of them are slightly more spread out, but I don't really care. I've gone back and redone that, like shoving it through like 3 times, and at this point, I'm happy with it. It could be worn as a cardigan, like open. I don't see myself doing that, so I think where they are right now is where they'll be, unless one day I just get a wild hair and decide to wear it open. I have worn it backwards, which I think is super cute. So like the buttons in the back, I really like that. And that's one of the reasons I picked this pattern. I thought that I would really like having something I could wear backwards. I even thought about like purchasing something like that, but then I decided just to make one. And I'm glad I did, because I really like this. And I think it is so cute. A lot of times when I wear like my big chunky sweaters to work, people will be like, ooh, you knit that, so cute. No one said anything about this, and so I was like, other people hate it, but then I started to think, I think they don't realize that I made this. I think it does not look handmade, or at least that's what I'm telling myself. It's either that or they don't like it. My guess is that I think it looks really good, and so I don't think they're clocking it as a handmade item. Because most of my handmade things have mistakes. Like I'm a human and I'm new. So most of my big chunky sweaters are pretty obviously handmade. But this one, I think it looks really good. One problem I'm having, and I'm not sure how to fix it, they're kind of doing this like scalloping thing. It's worst right here. So when I lean back, you know, around my chest. And then at the very bottom, there's a bad one here. I'll stand up so you can see. But yeah. And then you can see kind of how they're not super evenly spread out, especially at the bottom here. I think it's okay. But there is this like, ooh, you saw my tummy, like scalloping happening. There's not a lot of gapping. Like you can't see my skin unless I pull it apart like I just did. But I saw that there is a tutorial by the pattern designer, Ines. She made a video for how to reinforce the button band for this, and she also made that dress. I can't think of what it's called, but I've seen a lot of people make it. I think it is so cute, but it's buttons all the way down, and I might try to do that. I'm not sure. I really like this, and I kind of want to just be done with it, but at the same time, I do, like I said, I really like it, and I want to be able to wear it for a long time without it getting worse. My worry is that it's not too bad right now, but it will get worse. We'll see. I'll come back to it later, and maybe one day I'll feel like I want to do that. But for now, I'm just enjoying it. I've worn it a few times. I wanted to wear it to the state music teacher conference, and I got to. And I really enjoyed that. I felt like it looked so professional and cute. And also, I do love to wear a handmade item and just wait for someone to say they like it so I can say, I made it. And so I got a few of those there from my friends who know that I knit. But I worked there, and then Robbie and I went to Charleston just for like a little weekend trip around Valentine's Day, and I wore this and I felt really cute when we were going around downtown. And I've worn it to school. I've worn it a few times. I just think it's really cute. It is so comfortable. I was worried about it being a little itchy, just having like wool next to skin. I almost always wear a shirt underneath my sweaters, but this one is incredibly soft, very smooth. It's so comfortable, not a single itch to be had. Overall, I'm super pleased with this item. I need to take pictures of it. One of my really big flaws as a like knitter on the internet is I do not take pictures. I just don't. So I never have anything to post. So maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know, but I really like this one. My next finished object is the Slightly Sassy V by Aimee Sher, and here it is. I made this out of some sock yarn I had gotten when my local yarn store closed. I got it really cheap, and I got 3 skeins of it, and I was not sure what I could do with it. So I found this pattern, and it looked like I would have close to enough, maybe not. I actually had a ton left over. So I finished all of this with like 2 and like a 1/4 of the last skein. So I have a lot of it left. So I'll probably make some socks because I have pretty small feet. And if I do a different color for the like heel and toe and cuff, maybe I will certainly have enough for a pair of socks. So I'm excited about that. But I also really like this sweater. It is so soft. It's very drapey. It's thin, which I think is so nice for the spring. I wore it the other day to work, and I was out and about because instead of being at school all day, I was visiting other schools doing some like district business, and I was running around. I was driving, and it was about like 65 degrees. I was incredibly comfortable. At one of the schools, they're having like a reading week. It's Read Across America week. I accidentally got trapped in their little kid parade, like through the school where they're all in their reading costumes. And it was quite hot in there, and I was still very comfortable in this while I was part of that parade. Totally by accident. I was stressed out. I made this in size 3. I used a single strand of Mad Tosh Twist Light, which I said is a suck yarn. And let me look at the color. Pardon me. The color is rose, and it says 75-25 soft base. Last time I showed you this, I wasn't sure about what I wanted to do with the sleeves, partly because I thought I might not have enough yarn, and also because the pattern suggests either short sleeves or 3/4 length, because it's supposed to be like a springy, summery kind of sweater. But I thought about doing long sleeve, and I'm really glad I did. I almost always make my sleeves a little too short. You can see here I made them bracelet length, which is good, but I didn't want that here, so I made these a really good length. They're a little like down to here, but then because I made the sleeve cuff very tight, it like fits perfectly around my wrist. It is just so comfortable. I think it fits really well. It's a good length. It's not too short. Like, I often make things too short. Overall, I am pleased. I think it's very cute. My only problem with it, with the like pattern, is that I didn't realize about how deep this V might be, and I think I made it to pattern. I'm not quite sure, but if I like lean forward, it comes a little too low. But if I just like pull it up a little bit and like pull it back, it is perfect. And it fits like this, like a little bit wider, and it's just a little lower in the back. So I feel like it's quite appropriate. I did make some mistakes on this one. We were doing like the V-neck shaping and then also doing the compound raglan. My brain was like exploding. She made a chart, which was very helpful, but I wasn't using the chart because I was like, I can do it myself for a little while. And that really wasn't too hard, but it was distracting me and I wasn't paying attention, and I accidentally started doing my raglans not in a straight line. I've never done that before. I don't even remember how I did it. But if you look very close, the raglans are not super neat. Where? They just kind of like branch off at certain spots, like right there. I don't think it really matters. I can't really tell. I just was frustrated with myself for doing it, but I didn't want to go back and fix it because I don't feel like it's a big deal. And then another thing I did, I'd never done helical knitting before, but because this is like a variegated or slightly variegated yarn and it's hand dyed, I didn't want to have like a big chunk of 3 different colors. So I tried to just do it without looking up how to do it. I think I definitely did it wrong because I like have these little holes in the side. It's not quite visible and it's under the arm about at like my ribs, so it's really not, it does not bother me, but it's noticeable if you're looking for it. Overall though, I am very pleased with this sweater and I'm excited to wear it for the rest of the spring. And we're also moving to Ohio in the summer, so in the fall, I feel like I'll get a lot more chances to wear my sweaters, and I think I'll wear this one a lot. But this is the Slightly Sassy V. I have one more finished object, and it's one I haven't showed you yet because I just spur of the moment cast it on and I whipped it up really fast because it's a pretty thick yarn. But I made the adult Playdate Tee by Kalley Reedy in this bamboo cotton yarn. I've had this yarn for a long time. I got the pattern a long time ago. I actually tried to make it once before, but I made it with like an alpaca silk linen yarn, which feels incredibly soft in my hand, but very itchy on my chest and back. So I had to undo it because there's just no way I could wear that without something underneath it. And this isn't really something I want to have a shirt on underneath, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to make a basic raglan little tee with this bamboo cotton yarn that I've had for a long time. The yarn specifically is Bamboo-tiful from Hobby Lobby. I'm not a huge Hobby Lobby fan, but it is the only craft store we have within an hour's drive. The color is Cerulean Sea, and I had 3 balls of this and I used 2.5. So I have a little bit left. I'm not really sure what I'll do with the rest of it. I don't know. I made a project with this same yarn but in like an off-white color last year, and I don't like it that much. I like this one a lot more, so I'm pleased with that. Overall, it's really comfy, it's really soft, but it is heavy. You know, as you would expect, it's pretty heavy, but I like that in this tee because it has some structure. The neckline is not too wide. Like my last project, I made a Tolsta with the off-white Bamboo-tiful yarn, and it just stretches like crazy. But so far this is good. And I feel like if it stretches too much, I could put it in the dryer, but if it stretched out from where it is now, I'd still be happy. I almost wish it was a little bigger. I was slightly below like the recommended gauge, so it's a little smaller than it should be, but to account for that, I just didn't decrease the sleeves like the pattern stated. I just made them straight, and honestly, they're not very long. Like, look, it's not a lot of sleeve, but it fits pretty comfortably. It's even a little tighter than I would want. Overall, I like this tee. It is just like easy to throw on. I finished it last week and I've worn it twice. I'll probably wear it again this week. It's just very comfy. It is nice for school. It just goes with everything. The only thing, I don't know if I'll wear this with blue jeans. I feel like the color blue, I just don't know how it would go with jeans. But I wore it with like these white pants that I have on right now. See, like they're a little bit like off-white. I think it looked really good with that, and I have it on my Instagram story. My Instagram story is pretty much the only place where I post. I need to be better about posting on my Instagram, like on my grid, but I'll be up in my story sometimes, always taking selfies in my school bathroom. It's the only mirror. Anyway, that's the Playdate Tee. Now I'm gonna get into my whips, and for my first whip, I have this step-by-step cardigan by Florence Miller. Last time I showed you, I was working on the yoke still, I think, and now I've finished the whole body. So I'm trying to show it. It's pretty large. I finished the body. I did the ribbing at the bottom, and the pattern says you can go onto the sleeves, but I'm gonna go ahead and do the button band first, just because I'm making this with acrylic yarn, which is not going to stretch like at all. So I want to make sure I have the button band, and then I can make the sleeves exactly how long I want them. I'm afraid if I did the sleeves and then the button band, it would like and like shrink up my sleeve, which is fine if I was using wool, but I'm not. I'm using 100% acrylic. So I'm gonna do that first, but I haven't had a lot of motivation to do a button band, especially when I'm like, ooh, spring and summer knits. It's 75 degrees outside. Like, I don't want to do a cardigan. But I also know that I'm really gonna want to wear this just like around the house. I think it's gonna be like supremely cozy. And I really like the way the flecks look on this little cardigan. I think it is so cute. I've had this yarn for so long. I got it from my grandma when I was in college, and I'm 27 now. And I tried to make like a crochet sweater, but I just didn't like the way it was working up, so I just quit. And then I learned to knit like 2 years ago, and I thought this would be really cute. Knit it up into something, but I was saving it, and now it's time to use it. And like I said, I think it looks so cute. Florence's patterns are so like easy to understand. She's got video tutorials, which are very helpful. I made the step-by-step sweater twice, and so I thought I would like this one, and I certainly do. I like it a lot. But that's the update on this. There's not much to say. We'll see if I get the motivation to do the button band. It might just be something I do every once in a while. Probably won't get a lot of wear out of this except for around the house, so I'm not super motivated to finish it right now. But doesn't mean I don't like it. I still really like it, and it's very soft and squishy. My next whip is just a very basic vanilla sock. The pattern I kind of based my vanilla socks off is the Favorite Sock pattern by Kristin Lehrer, just because I found that pattern first, and it had a free, like, it was a free pattern and it had a video. So I used the video the first time, and then I used the pattern with like supplemented by the video, and now I just use the pattern, but you know, I'll change it and do whatever I want with it. But that's like the basic thing that I'm following, if you're curious. But I'm just making this sock out of this Wonderland yarn. Again, I got this from the local yarn store over a year ago when it closed. I got a lot of things there on like super mega clearance, and I don't have the label, so I don't know what color this is, but I remember that was the brand because that store carried a lot of that brand. And I'm pretty sure the base was the Mary Ann sock base, and I just remember that because that's the name of my mother-in-law, so I remember that name. But I really like the colors. I think they're so cute. It's like this oceany blue with little bits of like orange and like gold and like tiny bits of like a like lavendery kind of periwinkle. I really like this and I'm excited to wear these. I only started doing this because I was going to that conference and I wanted something to do in between sessions, because I know that at that conference there is no phone service, so I couldn't just play on my phone. I needed something else to do. So I brought this sock and I got like this much done there, and then the rest I've done at home while we're like watching movies and stuff, but it's not my like main focus right now. I'm just kind of doing it. But I do think it's gonna be really cute and I'm excited to wear it. I am doing a 64 stitch cast on, or I did do a 64 stitch cast on. I wear a size 6.5 shoe and I just struggle finding the right size of sock for me. I can't tell what I like and what I don't because I have this one pair that I'm my like orangey yellow pair with the same yarn, and I did 56 stitches and it's a little too tight. And then every time I've done 64, it's a little too big. So I tried to do 60 and I like that, but then I'm like, is it kind of nice to have the like cozy, slightly big socks? I know this is not important to you, but I'm just like speaking what I'm thinking. I think I just need to experiment more and just wear my socks more and just try different things. I have been wearing them a lot around the apartment and I've been wearing them to school. I think they're very comfy, but I don't know. I feel like they slide like this way down my foot, like it ends up being the heel is underneath my foot. I don't know if that's because they're too big or too small. It feels like they're too big, but I don't know, sock problems. But this is my sock. It's the first one. I'll probably finish it soonish. I don't know, probably not before my next video. And then I'll start the other sock, but I am in no hurry to work on this. This is just my like casual on the go project. And then my last whip is something I've actually been really excited to work on. So I've been mostly doing this for the last few days. And this is another Tolsta Tee by Rebecca Clow. I've made 2 Tolsta Tees and I don't love either of them. And I know you're thinking, Rachel, then why are you making another? And I'm like, cause I'm determined to make this work. I have the pattern, so making it again feels like it's free, you know? But I made the smaller neckline because on my last one the neckline was huge, but I also used really heavy yarn so that pulled down on it, and that's not the pattern's fault, but I did make a smaller neckline. And I'm using yarn that I really like, which is Lena from Sandnes Garn. I really wanted something in this like dark gray blue color. It's mostly gray, maybe slightly blue. And I want to do long sleeves. So overall, I think I'm gonna like this one. We'll see. I haven't tried it on yet. It's just barely at the point where I can like try it on, but I don't want to switch the needles out to be able to try it on, so I just haven't. I am trusting in the process. I think this is gonna be a good project. I like it so far. My only thing is again, my row gauge is slightly off, but I was like, I think it'll be fine, especially with it being like a cotton linen yarn. I think it will stretch itself out. So I'm just going with the flow. We see what happens. But my goal with this was to have something I could wear like in transitional weather. So it's like a light summery yarn, but with long sleeves. I think that'll be really good in the spring and in the fall. Something I can wear to school. I think it's going to be good. I wanted something in this dark color. I thought about making a dark gray cardigan, but I thought I would get more wear out of this for now, and maybe one day I can make a dark gray cardigan. I don't know. I think this is gonna be really cute. I'm excited to wear this. But that's what most of my time has been spent on in the past like week. I think I cast it on about a week ago. I am excited to get this done. I feel like probably by next week I'll finish the body, and then like a week after that I'll finish the sleeves, and then it'll be done. I promise to maybe post at least on my story when I finish it. But that is my most recent Tolsta and my last whip. For my acquisitions, I actually do have some this time. One was the dark gray yarn, this like slate blue gray yarn that I'm using for this Tolsta. And then when I ordered this, I also ordered yarn for my next project. And I got, I've never used this before, it's the Tin Lena. So I've never used this fingering weight version of that. And I want to make the blouse number 1. and I got 2 colors. I got Kit, which I've used this color before, but never in the tin Lena version. And then, so that's 1015. And then this is, I think it's, yeah, 1002. And this is like the white cream color. Yes, this is white and this is Kit. And I think together it'll make a nice, like, slightly, maybe not even visibly, slightly marled off-white color. And I'm excited for that. I think it's gonna be really cute. I've been thinking about making that for a while or something really similar, but I like the like I-cord neckline on it, and I think it'll be really nice to have that like wide boat neckline, and then the big sleeves I think will be very cute. My fear is that it'll be see-through, but I feel like if that happens, then I'll just wear like a tank top or something underneath. I don't know, but I'm excited to use these and excited to use this like yarn I haven't used before. I like Lena, but I don't know, the texture of this feels really nice when I squish it. And that's it from me today. It was really nice to get to sit down and chat with you guys. I would love to hear about what you're working on in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye.